dun, dun, dun. There we go. No, Will was saying he was watching Crossroads like I watched Smolensk, where I watched the first half and then it took me like 3 days to get to the rest of it. I watched Crossroads in two chunks pretty close to each other, so I didn't
Me and
actually have.
Mercy just sat down and watched the whole film with dinner.
Yeah. Oh, it was, and I just, it was late at night, so I was like, I'll finish in tomorrow, which I did. So that's what
Mm.
happens when you watch Smolensk the week before, Will. Crossroads is easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very easy. Not as easy as Spice World, but I mean, what is?
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Luke, you're at number 70
Ah,
for
good
this
job.
Oh,
one.
I
I
don't care
didn't.
about the number.
He doesn't care about the number. Okay.
Okay.
Shall we just start doing the thing then?
Sure. All right.
Acting, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the pop star Britney Spears. Her ongoing mission to seek out new roles and new opportunities, to boldly go where only a few music artists have gone before.
That's right. It's Crossroads.
That's right.
Okay, that's all
Space
I'm gonna do
Cross.
that. I often have a guitar in reach when we're podcasting. I just don't grab it most of the time. Hi, it's Films and Filth. This is
Hi,
Matt here.
it's Mark.
It's Luke.
There's a
And
guest. Mark, I guess you're gonna
returning
roll this
guest,
intro.
Will Sanders. How you doing, Will? Straight from HK.
I
That
am
stands for
doing, man. I'm doing good. I got the hello. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here. Yeah.
he's there.
Got the
yeah.
day off. Trying to figure my audio out right now, but I think it's okay.
We
Okay.
Yeah.
hear
How are you
you.
guys?
Pretty good.
Yep, it's Crossroads, not that one, and not that one. It's a different Crossroads
It's
because
Britney, bitch.
yeah, because of course there's a song, right? There is the 1986 movie, Ralph Macchio, and someone else notable's in that. Why am I only remember the Karate Kid? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
I
Nope.
saw it on IMDb. I did not click on it.
Oh,
So,
I
There's a
man,
little,
I loved that movie when I was a kid. I don't know why. Didn't even play guitar at that point in time. Let's see,
Oh,
Ralph
I
Macchio.
remember. I think I remember that one too. I'm not sure. I could be making it up, but was there a Robert Johnson connection with that movie, or is
Yes.
it just the name of
that
that
was
song?
Yeah, it's
that
it's
was
playing duels with the devil on guitar. A wannabe blues
Right.
guitar virtuoso finds an old blues player and hopes he can teach him a long lost song by legendary musician Robert Johnson. That's Ralph
That's right. I
Macchio.
have seen it.
Yeah. Joe Seneca, Joe Morton's in it. Okay. Steve Vai. Oh yeah, I think he's the satanic shredder in the movie. So, but it's not that one.
yeah.
It's a different Crossroads.
No.
It's Britney
there's
Spears.
also an ongoing British soap opera called Crossroads.
Is
Oh,
it
I
is it
wonder.
about a satanically influenced blues musician?
No, but especially confusingly, it was airing when this film came out.
Ah,
Hmm.
So
okay.
even when I searched Crossroads 2002, it was giving me episodes of that show.
Ah, that's because you have a British
Well,
computer.
this movie.
Interestingly, in this movie though, they seem to be in one road that didn't cross other ones. It was just one long. There was no intersections. If you watch the
No.
movie, they don't like. They're like, "Hey, look, we're crossing this boulevard. We're going across." They just
Also,
drive in one road, so it's
in
false advertising.
in 2002 terms, it really sounds like a rehab clinic, which like, yeah.
As
But
I
it is.
understand it, America is just long ass roads that don't do anything.
I thought you were going to say America is just a rehab clinic, and it kind of is.
America needs one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the rehab happens eventually when you die.
Right.
So we like to talk about how this movie came into our lives, and I mean, I knew it existed the whole time, but I never thought about it, I guess. I certainly didn't know it had a ridiculous number of Star Trek actors. I guess because you didn't know that in 2002, because they hadn't done
Well,
that correct.
that's what's so weird. It features multiple Star Trek actors and then has a scene in Vasquez Rocks,
Right.
but they hadn't been in Star Trek yet, so it's not deliberate.
Right. Which kind of, they got four, what, cis white dudes sitting here talking about
Mm.
Crossroads, a movie not made for us.
Well,
We're in that position again, but it's kind of
um,
like,
Well,
personally, I know.
Mercy may join us, but she's currently still asleep.
oh,
So,
okay.
but she did
Uh,
watch the film with me, so I can share some
Good.
comments.
We'll get maybe
well,
we'll get the late stage opinion on that. Okay.
Well, the thing for me is that I never minded Britney Spears' music, but the thing that made me a fan was Toxic, which came out a year after this and was the album after this. She got kind of edgy, and I that spoke to me immediately. And this is not the toxic Britney Spears in this movie, not at all. This is not the work bitch Britney Spears. This
I,
is
I I'll
it's
just have to throw out that the sample in Toxic does drive me insane,
oh
like in a
man, I
bad
love
way.
every that legitimately could be in like my top 200 songs. I love it. I'll listen to it 6 times in a row. I don't give a shit.
Top
Well,
200
I
is very
was
faint praise, Mark.
Mark listens to a lot of
I
You
don't
know
music.
how
know if I
many?
could
You know
name
how many?
200 songs off the top of my head.
You don't
Mark could
understand. I
Mark
have
could do the other 199 in order. So
my running playlist is 27 hours long.
Did you run that long?
Yes, just
Okay,
now.
cool. But yeah, did I see a poster of this in the movie theater? Maybe 2002. No, I wouldn't have. I was out in the woods in 2002. So actually, maybe I did notice this movie ever existed, but somehow it came across my radar. It just somehow slowly sinks in. Um,
I think we had it at one of the video stores I worked at. I mean, I recognized the poster for it, and I think it was one of those things that I never even glanced at twice.
Yeah,
I
around this
guess
time I
that's
was
the thing.
watching
You glance
anime.
at it. Yeah, you glance at it once and you don't glance at it twice, I guess is what happens for
Yeah.
people in our state of whatever.
Yeah, it was like
It's
20 something. I was like,
Yeah, no, this is like so far out of like movies that were targeted to us. This is the movie least targeted to us because Black Christmas at least like pretended to be a horror movie, right?
well,
yeah, and it was a Black Goo movie.
my question about it was who was it targeted to? Because you figure like fans of Britney Spears in 2002 were probably predominantly girls who were 12, and it sort of played that to them, but it had a lot of Britney Spears jumping around in her underpants. And it made me wonder if the filmmakers were thinking that they could sell more tickets that way. Like guys would be like, "Oh, I want to see Britney Spears jumping around in her underpants,"
Yeah, so
or who that was even for. If it was a movie that
25
was for
minutes into the
kids,
film, she'd had two underwear scenes and a shower scene.
right?
Um, yeah, but like at this point in time, Britney Spears basically had no freedom in her life and was being sold as an object to, because I think the whole Britney Spears thing, at least up like pre-Toxic, right, was like, oh, she's a cute, innocent schoolgirl, but she's sexy. And this film was kind of leaning into that. But then, yeah, like, am I going to go and watch a film about a cute, innocent schoolgirl just for the 4 minutes where I can see her midsection?
This is the way I
So
see
it,
it
it is
is
bizarre to think who that was for. Yeah.
the MTV logo was right at the beginning. This is a music
Mm.
video director, like an absolute legendary music video director who did like videos for The Smiths, Depeche Mode, Faith No More, The Bangles, Young MC, MC Light, Tone Loc, Sonic Youth, Bette Midler, Hanson. She directed Billy Madison, CB4, and Half Baked. Like,
I was about to
but
say, don't
but
leave out the features.
this is what the way I saw it is this is straight up directed straight at people who are just MTV pilled. Because you notice how many songs were like it when they were driving in the car, they would switch songs like 6 times in 2 minutes. It was almost it was jarring. I thought like how much music there is in this that is not Britney Spears music is very
Yes,
interesting.
Yeah,
Like
yes.
some of it, like Cheryl Crow's "If It Makes You Happy," which was a single from I think 1994. That's
Mm.
8 years before this came out. This
Shania
definitely some stuff
Shania Twain
older.
as well, I think was around the same time. I
Yeah,
could be wrong.
Madonna is in this. Madonna from late 80s is in this. It's
I think the
pretty
target is
interesting.
what I've said before with things like I think kiddie, nah, well, younger people entertainment is usually pitched a few years younger. So tweens were into Britney in 1999. It's 3 years later. They are now in junior high, meaning they want to see the high school girl, and oh, her friend's pregnant. Oh my God, there's like rape at a party and stuff, because there's some dark stuff in the movie, right? That wouldn't have
Mm.
like hit me
Oh
baby one
yeah.
more time, although
It
the
take
title's hit me
it
baby one more time.
the
But
ending of this movie takes a turn.
It's I feel like it's handled like a Saved by the Bell after school special episode, which is not a great move on this movie's
Yeah, the
part.
whole anytime the show did the show, that's the point. Anytime the film did drama, it felt so much just like a teen sort of Netflix show, sort of the 9 p.m. slightly more risque soap operas that the teen girls I went to school with were watching. Like it's dealing with a very dark subject and then just breezing over it very quickly because it's just, you know, they want to be able to say they watch something about a shocking and dramatic subject, but it doesn't want to like bum you out by staying on
Yeah.
it for too long.
yeah, everything's like quickly resolved. Like, oh my God, we have no money. We have to fix the car. Ah, that worked out quickly and nicely, didn't it?
Yeah, and the next thing they
Yeah.
know, they're staying in the most outrageous hotel I've ever seen. Like, how did they make that much money? They have like a
They sang and danced it
Jane
off.
Eyre courtyard they can go out and have conversations in and stuff.
I mean, one of them sang that if the other one had kept singing, they wouldn't have made any money. It's
I
just
Mm.
with
love
that
I,
one.
I love that she was like, I have a plan. Like
That's the plan.
I have an idea. She doesn't know that that place exists. I assume
Well,
because
I
I've
see.
been
I when we were watching, I turned to Mercy and said, "How did she know this was here?" Well, it says on the sign "world famous karaoke concert," so I guess they knew all about
and it,
it.
and
Well,
And who's the
talk about a
MC?
random if it didn't say Cool Modi at the very beginning, you're like, oh wait, Cool Modi is in this. Like he's like, hi, I'm Cool Modi. Okay, all right, bye.
yeah.
He's flush with
Yeah.
cash.
Well,
That was the thing with some of the Trek actors. Kim Cattrall, she's fifth billed after the four road trippers, above
it
Dan
was
Aykroyd, and she's in the movie for literally 30 seconds.
that
I sort of have a theory that I was watching that and it sort of felt like they cut there was a scene that was cut
Yeah, I got the
because
impression.
afterwards she shows up and says sort of there's another scene where they're in the bathroom and she says what happened and they do that a lot in this movie and the very which is real lazy writing by the
Very
way they like
Shakespearean.
in the very beginning, she's like, "Oh, I'm always trying to make you happy, and I'm always working really hard at school." And Dan Aykroyd's like, "But I have high expectations and want you to go to college," And it's like, nope, like. But they had another scene like that. It makes me think that Kim Cattrall and Britney Spears had like a little scene where Kim Cattrall is like, "I don't want you," and all of these horrible
Well,
things, and they must have
so
decided it was like too awful for
that
Kim
that
Cattrall to say
scene
that.
would have been really intense if they'd actually shown it, right? Just to
Sure.
her mother telling her to her face that she's an accident she didn't want. So I can
honestly,
understand,
I
like, it was either that scene ended up being a bit outside of Britney Spears in her first ever film's like range, or
Uh-huh.
just it was like probably quite unpleasant to watch. But yeah, it
Right.
definitely felt like weird that we were just cutting away and like the most pivotal scene in this character arc we just don't get to see.
And one of the most famous actors in the film as well, who's just
Yeah, and like
barely in
Matt
it.
says, who's
um
given that billing despite ending up not really
do
being in it.
do you guys want to know who originally do you want to guess who originally had that role?
Madonna.
Yep.
Whoa.
That would have, oh, and this is
Would have
Die
made a
Another
lot of
Day era
sense.
Madonna. No, so that could have been
It would have made
something.
sense,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
fair
That
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
El Pop
but
Star was her mum. Very,
but I
very
almost think
nice.
if they did film that scene, it's almost like cartoonishly cruel. I don't even know how
Yeah.
that would work because who the hell would do that unless they were literally like Mr. Burns or something? Like who
Oh,
the
I'm
hell
sorry,
does?
honey. I don't want you and I hate you.
Yeah, if you really hate somebody, you lie to them until they go away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like like the boyfriend at the end. He really
Yeah, well, I don't,
you know
yeah, that's like how she was acting when Britney first showed up.
yeah.
I,
But
Britney's character has a name, but I can't remember her as anything other than
Lucy,
Britney.
We're gonna be
Lucy, there you go.
Lucy. I think we're
Lucy.
just
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and call these actors by their names because it's just easier that way. And I don't think anyone
sure.
cares about the characters' names, except maybe in the summary that Mark's gonna do.
Well, before I do the summary, I do want to point out that whatever the issues of the writing are, Britney Spears had a ton of input, and Tamara Davis wanted to make sure that she pointed out that she gave Britney Spears a lot of input and like kind of final say over everything that happened. So
Hmm.
it really is
I mean,
kind of
what's good?
Britney's fault.
Well, did Britney have final say, or did someone who was speaking for Britney have final say,
Did
based on what
Daddy
we
have
now
final
know?
say? Did Dan
It
Aykroyd have
might
final
be
say?
Based on a lot of the things that we know now.
the options that she was given were probably not. None of the options she was given were probably that good. She did fight for the sex scene, which is interesting enough. You know, it's
Which
sort of like,
one?
well,
Which awkward
Well,
sex
only
the
scene.
one
good
actually
one,
happens.
the one at the end, yeah, the good one.
Also awkward though. Both of them are awkward.
Well, it
What's
always is.
actually what and what was actually that wrong with the guy at the beginning? Like he really was just trying to get laid, and like
But
she
yeah, he was he
they
was
don't they
he
don't
was
even
being a pretty horrendous
He was
incel. Don't
afraid.
defend that guy.
He was afraid.
but I mean I don't know. Like
He was, yeah,
she just sort of
he was
they
the
don't.
OG incel. Please, you owe me sex because I'm gonna be a loser if I haven't had sex. Fuck that
Uh,
guy.
maybe I wasn't paying attention at that point.
Yeah, no, he was being pretty shitty.
I guess Justin Long's sort of like typecasting was proto incel because I'm counting him as a direct actor because of Galaxy Quest, where he basically plays the same dude.
He must have had like a cameo in some actual Star Trek at this point.
I looked actually. I went troweling through IMDb and I could not actually find him in
Okay.
a Trek. I'm not saying
I
it
mean,
doesn't
I'm
exist,
presuming
but
he's played a bunch of Star Trek characters in Robot Chicken as well.
that okay, sure, you can have that if you want it. But Galaxy Quest, we count that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
He's one of those actors. My gut feeling is that I just hate him. I always have, and I feel kind of guilty for hating him
Oh,
because
see,
it's
I
just
like
like
him
this
because of Die Hard
gut
4.
reaction.
hmm.
Yeah,
So
Die Hard
that's
4 he was good in Die Hard 4.
part of
He
why I
might
hate
have been
him. I'm
he
sorry,
might
it's
have
a
been one of the
gut
only
feeling.
things in I kept thinking about when I was watching this, I kept thinking about Elvis. And
Hmm.
because Elvis made a lot of movies that were kind of
Mid.
in this direction. And he did them because the Colonel made him do it. And we now know that Britney Spears did probably everything because her father was making her do it. But the
Hmm.
difference was that Elvis, nobody had a problem, and this is what's interesting to me. Nobody in the late early 60s had a problem that Elvis was like a surfing instructor who also played Elvis Presley songs and sang Elvis Presley songs on a beach somewhere, right?
Hmm.
But throughout the whole movie, you'd think like Britney Spears would be doing Britney Spears songs because it was a Britney Spears vehicle, but they just kept not doing that. It was really
Well, they
strange.
did.
Well,
I
when
mean,
we
one
saw
at the
Spice
end.
World, Spice World had a lot of Spice Girls songs in it, not much else. I feel like
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
kind of
wall to
a
wall.
weird
The Spice
weird
Girls and
choice
Gary
to
Glitter.
not. That's why I was saying this really feels like an MTV movie because it doesn't necessarily track. I feel like in any other instance, you would at least get mostly pop music, and there's just a lot of emo and
Well, I
but
thought the impression I got was that the reason it's not full of her singing Britney Spears songs is because this wasn't supposed to be a Spice World equivalent. I felt more like this was supposed to be she's moving into acting. She's an actor now.
yes. Well,
This is
the
the
people
drama.
who made this, Shonda Rhimes wrote this, who created Grey's Anatomy and is considered basically this was kind of her cutting her teeth, but she's considered like a golden, what do you call it, like having a golden touch, like anything
Hmm.
she does succeeds kind of thing. Like she's a very powerful person at this point. um I think Grey's Anatomy has been on for 24 years, but before we get too far into it, the conservatorship started in 2008. This is she
Oh,
read about Britney Spears' life. She kind of spirals out of control soon after this, but at this point, it like Will sent a very interesting quote from her. That was from recent years where she talks about how she disassociated when she played this character. But I found a quote from when the movie came out, and she just said some boilerplate stuff, like or her publicist did, where it's
Hmm.
like, this is very important to me, and I'm interested in acting and doing this. And she did act in some TV shows after this, and was considered, you know, good
Yeah,
for
she's in How I Met
whatever
Your
music.
Mother.
Yeah, she's considered a good actress. So
Yeah, to be honest,
uh,
she's not bad in this.
No, the
yeah,
weird
no,
I
conceit of
agree.
this movie is I thought the acting actually was pretty good across
I
the
felt
board.
like
Maybe because there's a lot of actors I
they were
like, but
doing their best acting with some pretty awful scripting.
yes,
But
exactly. I blame it on the script. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone, including Brittany, no one like really slouched on the acting job in this.
Well, the weird thing is that the person that I felt like was doing the worst job is Zoe Saldana, who now has won like 8 Oscars and is in
she
everything
did
good
like
ever.
the top 4 highest grossing films
Yeah.
of all time.
Yes, and make no mistake, Zoe Saldana was incredible in Avatar 2, for instance, and
Yeah,
many other
amazing
things.
singing voice in that too.
Yeah,
This is just before she found her thing, really. Like, I mean, Anson Mount,
yeah.
took me 5 minutes to recognize him, but once he started talking, I
It's
was like,
so weird
he's
to be
fully
seeing him
formed.
as like young, sexy young man because I'm so used to him as like daddy.
Space
Well,
Dad.
I don't know her name also, but the other one is plays an amazing character in Orange is the New Black. I love her in that.
yeah,
And
Ah, that's what I know her from. I knew I'd seen her in
yeah,
something.
she's like a crackhead with ex crackhead and her teeth are falling out and
She's
she
like
looks
the
horrible.
religious one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Karen Manning.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Karen
yeah.
Manning.
And she's great at that. She was great in this. Although it's just such a weird character arc. That she's just sort of there to be like, come on, guys, let's go on this adventure. And then, oh, wait, I got raped and now I had a miscarriage, like
Mhm.
But
right
it's
at
all
the
good.
end.
I'm glad I got to hang out with
Yeah,
my
but it's
friends.
fine. At least I have friends. Yeah. And so the quote you mentioned, Britney Spears said that she was having trouble later because she was so method when she did this, that she was having trouble later, I guess, like turning off the character, which I thought was really interesting because, like, what exact character are you talking about? Like,
Well,
you're a
It's not like
you're
she
to
was
you're
go
stretching
back
that far.
to
you're dancing around in your underwear and you're a singer, but you're confused because you think you're dancing around in your underwear in a car. I mean,
there's
like
I
what
I
character are you lost inside? Like
I
she
she was so
it,
confused because her dad cared about her that it was really confusing.
she had a talented father.
Yeah.
Sorry, making
I
me think of
I
the
kept I kept waiting for Dan Aykroyd to turn to the camera and say, "Brittany, you ignorant slut."
sorry,
Man,
the whole method thing is making me think of the Marathon Man story. Have you guys heard
oh
of
no,
that?
I was thinking of the Galaxy Quest story where Alan Rickman was watching who was the star in that? I can't remember his name.
Tim
Tim
Allen.
Allen.
Tim Allen. They did like a scene and Tim Allen had to, be sad about something. And then he's just like, oh, this is making me feel feelings. I need to take a break, guys. And Tim Allen's like, oh, look, he just started acting.
I
Because,
I just looked up the
um,
Marathon Man story is that's Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman, where
oh,
the
yeah,
legend.
everyone knows that one.
Okay, everyone knows that. My dear boy wants to show you acting. Okay, just checking that out. Hey, Mark, we never
yes.
No,
did
but
the
no,
summary,
because
by
my
the way.
point is it's not necessarily
Uh-huh.
that Britney was just doing method. It's that
Mm.
she hadn't acted before. And like when
Yeah.
you start acting, sometimes you do start feeling the character's feelings. Um, how many
Yeah.
times did Patrick Stewart say he accidentally cheated on his wife because he played someone who loved someone else and had to say it every night on
Oh
stage?
boy. I heard that
Oh,
every time Forrest Whitaker takes a role that he ends up crying for days afterwards to cry the character out.
huh.
Sure.
Which, not gonna argue with that guy. He's one of the best actors
Yeah.
of our generation. Anyway, okay, here is the summary. Strap in rural Georgia, perhaps not far from the crossroads where the Robert Johnson sold his soul. I said the Robert Johnson, where Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. A small child named Lucy and her friends Kit and Mimi bury a box with things in it that they promised to open the day of their high school graduation. When they reach that crossroads in their life that was statistically only 60% likely to happen at the time, Mimi is pregante, about to be a single parent, and Kit is prom queen and engaged to a guy who lives in LA and doesn't answer calls, and she's constantly mean to everyone, especially Mimi. And Lucy is normal, except she wants to be a singer, and her father Pete is cross because he wants her to be some kind of Rhodes Scholar. Also, she has a boyfriend named Henry who is afraid to take her virginity, who has then never seen or heard from again. Some say that his ghost still wanders the earth, not fucking anyone. Mimi gets her friend Ben to drive them all to LA in a road trip across the country. Lucy wants to visit the mother who abandoned her and obviously does not want to see her. Mimi wants to get a record contract, and Kit wants to visit her fiance who obviously does not want to see her. As they drive from town to town, they have wacky adventures that are kind of also sad. Mimi tells everyone that Ben is a murderer, but then it turns out that he was only in jail for being a super good guy and giving a stepsister a ride. Sometimes Lucy sings songs while the other two girls sing kind of quietly in the background. When they need money, Lucy sings a song at a bar with the other two girls in the background and they're tipped several $1,000s, but only after Mimi, who is driving across the country to get a record contract, sings the opening and is booed off the stage. By the time they get to Arizona, they drop Lucy off to meet her mother, who is not expecting her. She tells Lucy that she was an accident and she has to go pick up her two new intentional children. Lucy returns to the hotel and is crying, so it's the perfect, most healthy time for her and Ben to hook up, which is really convenient because Ben can also play a lot of instruments and can further her career. They get to LA, and while Kit and Mimi go to visit Kit's fiance, who is not expecting them, Lucy and Ben say they're tired, so they can then bang it out while the others are away. They have what's probably the wildest and loudest sex anyone has ever had. He probably does the thing where he's standing up while holding her upside down, doing a 69, and then rails her against the window of the hotel room while she looks down at the people at the pool, both literally and figuratively. And they're singing songs the whole time that they wrote themselves. Meanwhile, Kit and Mimi visit Kit's fiance Dylan, and he says that he's comforting his male friend, but is barely bothered to conceal the other girlfriend he has in his living room. Also, then Mimi identifies him as, damn it, clicked the wrong button.
Damn it.
As the guy who got her pregnant via sexual assault. Kit finally understands that maybe Dylan is not a great guy and slaps him. Then Mimi falls down the stairs while running away and is rushed to a hospital. And the whole movie turns into a lost comic, and everyone is shrugging in the emergency room. Pete has come out to LA to drive everyone home, and Ben goes off to just put a band together because it's that easy. As they're leaving and the car sitting in traffic, Lucy says that Pete has to let her go so she doesn't turn into her mother, which does not seem like a fair assessment at all. She goes and runs to Ben in the street and stays in LA to start her career and have a lot more sex. The girls then bury another time capsule that they have no intention of digging up again. They decided that they have nothing but each other, even though Lucy now has a career and a hot boyfriend, so she has more than nothing but each other. The end.
Does she have a career? They have the audition.
Yes,
Everyone's
of course she
clapping and
does.
cheering. The movie ends. Hey, we don't know if she
Yeah.
passed the audition. Maybe
She
they
has a
clapped
career.
and cheered harder for other people.
Two
She's Britney now.
corrections. Justin Long wasn't her boyfriend. He was just her lab partner who'd given her an incel logical argument why she should sleep with him.
Also, there were
Well,
no wacky
secondly,
adventures.
I wasn't
He
paying enough
didn't.
attention.
She didn't slap Dylan. She punched him. There was a whole scene about her being taught how to punch. The actual on-screen punch was crap, but they made a whole thing about how good she was at punching because she'd been trained to do it by Mimi. And the sound effect made it sound like a really good punch, because that's secretly Zoe Saldana's superpower in this movie is that she can make sound effects that don't match like on screen, like when she bites into a strawberry and it crunches like an apple.
All right.
She has Foley
corrections.
superpowers.
Corrections noted. All of those things are now added to the summary.
And of course, Anson Mounts, you did mention his magical band making abilities where he shows up in LA for the first time within 2 days has put together a 7-person fully professional band
goes,
with chimes.
I know some guys in LA. I'll be right back.
And his weird temper tantrum where he goes out and throws rocks and kicks sand because they drove his car and then complains that he's the only dude and they're chicks and they keep talking about chick things. That was the weirdest writing in this whole film.
I left that out of the summary because it was too embarrassing.
He's like going back. He's like, walk over, kick sand, make a noise, walk in the other direction, kick sand, make a noise. And this is going back and forth. It's really weird.
Yeah, just waiting, acting like a robot who is waiting for Britney Spears to come over and talk to him. That's what it
Yeah,
reminded me of.
that was NPC behavior for real.
Yes. And it's like you're supposed to think he's a murderer maybe at that point, and he's just acting like the movie doesn't want to commit to us being scared of him, because then if we are scared of him, then he is a bad guy, but we're it's just like the movie itself just collapsed at that point.
Well, at the end it gets so dark. I think it would have been cool if it turns out that he was a murderer. Like that.
Yeah, he murders the
And he murders
guy.
Dylan for them, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Like suddenly
Oh
he's like, oh, sorry about everything that happened at the hospital, but and he's got like a knife.
No,
Yeah, that
okay,
guy's not going to be bothering you anymore.
Here's my rewrite. Somehow that everyone in the movie ends up and he charges at Dylan, and then Dylan starts running, and then Dan Aykroyd stabs Dylan in the back, and then he goes to jail. And then Britney Spears is like, "I'll avenge you, father. I'll become famous." And then she sings the song that's called "My Dad Is My Hero Because He Murdered a Rapist." The end.
That's too long for the chorus, dude.
That's the name
But
of the
that's the
film.
genius. That's the genius of the Anson Mount Britney Spears writing team.
I mean, the first line he has is "How's the fetus?" Which is insane.
I assume he kills people in Hell on Wheels. I don't know. I haven't seen that series.
I don't think I've seen him in anything but Star Trek and now this.
Right.
He's also Black Bolt.
Don't think
So
I
you
saw
at least
that.
saw him in Doctor Strange. Oh, have you seen Doctor
Yeah, he was
Strange,
in
right?
what was the Multiverse of
The
Madness?
Immortals. Yeah, and then he's in. Well, and he was in the extremely failed Immortals series.
Inhumans.
In Humans.
In
I did
Humans,
not
that's it. Yeah.
miss that one. Sorry.
Everyone missed that one.
That was the first thing I think I didn't watch.
That was the first thing nobody watched. Everyone forgot about the Incredible Hulk, but that's okay.
I watched
I
Incredible
liked
Hulk.
it. I
It's
liked it
not
a
the
lot.
worst. Yeah, it didn't age well if you do watch it again. Like some of the
I've
other
watched
ones
it
have aged
fairly
okay.
recently.
Yeah,
It doesn't. I mean,
It was like a quiet movie that didn't have a lot of jokes in it, which made me like it when it came out because I kind of like that more than I like the sticky jokey stuff.
the Ang
But
Lee one did that even
they
harder.
they decided
You must
that
like
that's
that one.
not the future. The future of Marvel was not a quiet, pensive movie with the Hulk and the shit. See the irony of an Incredible Hulk movie being kind of quiet? Like, where's
Mm.
that? Where's that? Marvel, you
They were in the
idiots.
desert a
Not
lot. They
smart
could have had a
anymore.
Hulk cameo in Crossroads. Maybe I didn't get
Yeah.
through all the post
maybe,
credit scenes.
He was
maybe
hiding.
he was just trying real hard not to Hulk out, and that's why he was having a weird temper tantrum in the sand.
Ah, so this is an even quieter Incredible Hulk movie stealthily. So
Yeah,
you
the
like
best
it
Hulk
better,
movie
Mark.
is actually the one where he never becomes the Hulk.
Hmm.
Oh, he was the voice of Batman in the Injustice game.
Sure. Why not?
Interesting. Played that. There you
Yeah, I
go.
played that. It wasn't
It's fine.
good.
It's fine. It's
Uh,
fine. Whatever. It's better than what was the one they made before? It was like Mortal Kombat versus DC. That the
Yeah,
Injustice
it
was
was
at least,
basically a spin-off of that.
yeah. At least it had a gimmick.
Hmm.
Anyway,
I'm
what if
busy looking
Batman
for the
fucking
moment
killed you?
when Dan Aykroyd started becoming unwatchable on screen, because I think this is after that point.
Was anybody else kind of depressed by how like out of shape he was in this? It seemed like this is only a couple of years after what was the movie where he was the hitman? Gross Point Blank.
What was he? Oh yeah, that was like that was
Maybe
1997.
it
This is
was
5 years later.
still, yeah, it kind of bummed me out. He seemed like he was really letting himself go at this point.
Okay, I think
I
that's
was
the
just
last
bummed out
time he was any
because
good. Because after
he was
that,
just
it
here to
was.
play like a unpleasant dad, and I was like, I don't want to see Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd being this. I
I
like
think
Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd.
I think a good
At
I
least
think
let
a
him be
good
funny in his unpleasantness.
I
Yeah.
think a good moment for him, in terms of his shift would be Nothing But Trouble. Because I think if you look at the stuff before Nothing But Trouble, he was doing pretty well. He was doing like the movie with John Candy, and he was still sort of a respected comedian from Saturday Night Live. And then after that, like he just starts doing worse and worse stuff, which
he's
is
he's
too
got
bad.
he's
I
got
love
stuff
Dan
after that.
Aykroyd. He's that's yeah, but he's progressively it's just not as good and not as good.
I'm looking at his
Now I
filmography at the moment. I would call Gross Point Blank the cutoff point because there's still some okay stuff before that, and after that, it's just like,
Blues
uh,
Brothers 2000 is objectively not good.
it's not good. Yeah, Evolution's not bad, but he's not good in it.
I didn't remember he was in it.
That's my point. I'm looking at a list of things. He did the voice of Yogi Bear. How exciting! Yeah, he didn't do
Hmm.
crap after. Oh, he's in Behind the Candelabra, but I don't remember him being in it, so I guess he wasn't in it that
Hmm.
much.
He was in Pixels. Everybody loved Pixels.
And he was only in that for 2 seconds, probably, right?
I
I don't
still,
know. I didn't see that.
Yeah, 1982 championship MC. Now I do remember him in it. He was only in it for 30 seconds. So
I
this
thought
is
that was
it's it
terrible.
it's it it seems like it's probably pretty good for his career that Ghostbusters seems to be making a comeback because if you look, it's the whole top part of the thing is just Ghostbusters
Ghostbusters is
show.
being dragged kicking and screaming into a comeback, whether it likes it or not.
He's
Yeah.
I'm
he's
I
got
am yeah, he's probably part of that. I feel like he's spent I'm not sure how true this is. I think he's just spent a lot of time just writing things and going to pitch meetings. He's probably been to like
Hawking
3,000 pitch
vodka
meetings. Trying to bring Ghostbusters back because that was
and
his
Hawking vodka.
baby, right? Like that was he wrote the original treatment for the original film. Like
Come on, the
even though it was
vodka is his
different.
baby too.
Yeah, but I'm sure he tries to pitch vodka to everyone he pitches Ghostbusters to. But
well, he's also got I think he's got a radio show where he does like a blues radio show and he probably does some other stuff as well.
I feel like he had like a paranormal podcast or something. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Maybe yeah.
That sounds fun.
That as well. So that sounds a lot more fun than him playing you blues songs. Because if I want
Dave
Yeah.
someone to play me
Dave
some blues tracks, Dan
Oh, here it
Aykroyd's
is.
not my first choice.
Dave
The
Foley's got a pretty good one about UFOs by the way.
Yes, he's
Okay,
also a
that
true
sounds cool.
believer.
Hell yeah.
I heard him I heard him guest on last podcast on the left, and he was very fun, still very funny, but also very serious about UFOs, which is a
Hell
great
yeah.
combination. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd has a very long running podcast, even though it looks like it's more him talking about comedy of the past. Oh, there's an episode from 2023 called Crystal Head Vodka. That is the name of the episode.
There we go.
Um,
I was going to say Crystal Skull. Oops.
yeah.
Okay. I'm yeah. So anyway, that's Dan Aykroyd.
Mhm.
Not he's the actor that I would say is definitively not good in this movie.
Oh, crap.
Um,
This is not why
He's
is
just phoning it
it's
in, that's
not
the thing.
Dan Aykroyd's podcast. It's someone talking about Dan Aykroyd. Why does it make it sound like he's on the podcast? What the hell? I hate the internet. I mean, I hate podcasts.
Well, because it makes you click.
Now you
Is there-
apologize to the internet.
Bastards.
Is
We,
there
we
any
just
way
got
you
we got
guys
to post this one like it sounds like Britney Spears is on here.
Yeah. Please do, Matt.
Make the Matt for the album artwork. Don't put a poster for the film. Just get a picture of Britney Spears with headphones and a microphone, like she's in a recording booth, and just use that as the album artwork for this episode.
Yes.
And call it. Don't call it Crossroads. Call it Britney Spears in Crossroads or Britney Spears on Crossroads.
We're gonna get so many more dislikes on YouTube when I do that.
Hell yeah.
Britney Spears discusses Crossroads in 2024. That'll do it.
Get like a shot of us laughing from the Zoom call. Get a video clip of her laughing in an interview. Cut that all together and put it up as like the preview.
So we're entering the world of deep fakes, are we?
Not deep fake. It's just good old fashioned editing.
Shallow fakes.
I'm not
False
explicitly saying that she's on the podcast. If you inferred that from our trailer, that's on you.
Yeah.
Also, we're not charging anyone any money. We can do what we want.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mark's going to kill himself live on air next week, so don't miss that.
Yeah, what movie
for your name?
Yes, for your name. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to assume that that's appropriate.
No, it's not.
Japanese. They get up to that sort of thing.
Japanese, of course. Of course, that movie is just people jumping in front of trains for an hour and a half, right? I mean, it has to be what it
That's
is.
what
Your
every
name.
Japanese movie is, yeah.
Whoa. Anyway, damn, this got really dark, and we didn't even talk about the pregnant.
Dark for you.
Really.
So, yeah.
It's my fault. Well, that sure was that was handled poorly, the pregnancy thing. It really
Yeah.
felt like the movie was like, well, you've met the father and he sucks, so we're going to just take this baby and sweep it under the rug.
And I
Yeah, because the
actually
baby
think
would definitely be an evil man with him as the father.
I actually think if I looked around my apartment, I could probably find things that could go under a woman's shirt that would make her look more pregnant than she looked in this movie. It looked like she had like a football at one point. It was just sort of hanging over her belt.
They were very inconsistent with how pregnant she looked.
Right.
And how cute they wanted her to look in the scene, I guess.
They even make a thing about it for the karaoke thing. They're like, oh, we're going to make you look not pregnant. So then the next scene, she just looks not pregnant at all.
But then in the karaoke thing, a guy's like, boo, this girl's pregnant. like people are yelling, heckling her for being pregnant. Like this movie is so mean to her. It's like kind of insane.
I want a whole other movie about Cool Mo D and that karaoke bar, by the way. Just like everything
Yeah.
else that's going on, like where people can get rich from singing like one karaoke song.
I love
I
rock
was
and
like,
roll.
is this Coyote Ugly? Is this what Coyote Ugly is? Is this just this?
Oh, do I need to watch Coyote Ugly? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
you
Is Cool
do.
haven't.
Mo D
I
in it?
haven't.
5.7. Adam, what? John Goodman's in it.
I think
I
it's a
mean,
Bruck. Isn't
there
that
you
a
go.
Bruckheimer? That's it's someone you wouldn't expect who made it.
Yeah, actually every screenshot on IMDb from it looks like the entire room is on fire. So it's probably pretty fun to watch.
Is fire ugly? I don't know. Hey, you know what would have been a cool dark plot twist to really drive it home when they meet Dylan instead of staying at the apartment. Anson Mount could murder Dylan at that point and become a murderer at that point. Now he does kill somebody. That would be like thematically cool.
Hmm.
Then the time police get him and take him back in time to go to jail, and that's what he goes to jail for.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. You've worked it out. Okay.
Coyote Ugly was directed by the director of Kangaroo Jack.
Uh, producer's Bruckheimer, right?
Oh, no. Bruckheimer's not a director, he's a producer.
I know,
Yeah,
but
that's what
that's
Matt said.
Oh,
that's what I said.
I don't. IMDb is
He
like
did not
does
produce
not put
Crossroads. I'm sure about that.
IMDb does not put the producers front and center to its credit.
Okay.
Hmm.
For TV,
Um,
maybe they should. I don't know. We need producers for
yeah, you're
TV.
right. Bruckheimer produced it.
Okay. Just checking. Oh yeah, the music at the end when we find Dylan and the baby is lost and all that, and the music just got like ridiculously melodramatic, like out of nowhere. Like up to that point, I don't remember anything on the soundtrack except pop songs. I'm not saying there
Hmm.
wasn't some other music, but at that point it was like "Da, da, da." It's like lost music on crack or something at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
It was drama.
they didn't want to associate any of their back catalogue of tracks with babies being accidentally killed by
If they
because he
played
punched
like
a rapist too dramatically.
if they started playing like if something unpredictable should happen, like they just start playing a sad Green Day song or something.
Oops, I did it again.
They could have
Oh
they could
boy.
have played the sentimental pop song there though for sure if they wanted. And yeah.
Yeah, but MTV used to be so powerful. And I
Hmm.
don't know, I still to this day don't know how I feel about that. Like it was this wonderful thing when you could just sit there and watch music all day and there would be legitimately cool art films with music behind them. But
Not by
also that was
2002.
100% like this corporate, marketing thing. You're watching commercials for for music at the
Hmm.
same time. It's and a lot of
Yeah.
bands hated that with good reason.
Well, wouldn't 2003 been sort of at the end of the day for them though, because Napster had already
Mhm.
happened and they were already sort of. I mean, MTV was, I think, still on the air at that point,
Oh yeah.
but it was becoming more and more like people sort of going like, "Well, what's MTV going to do, or what's going to happen to MTV?" I remember that happened for a while, and oh, MTV's trying this now, and MTV's trying that, and then MTV was just gone. I think it was reality TV for a few years.
Well, see,
Yeah,
I
that's the
I don't
thing.
remember a time when MTV existed and people weren't complaining that it didn't play music anymore.
Yeah, and
I
and
feel like MTV came out, played music for one day, and then immediately started playing shows, and everyone complained.
I'm reading a book on my iPad right
and
now, which is it's about the golden age of MTV, and it is clocking it from, of course, 1981 when it starts to 1992. So that's
what?
the
That's a
that
little excessive because the
I
thing being of my vintage, the golden age of MTV was MTV's AMP, which, aired at like Friday nights
what
and
Yo
they would
MTV
just show
Raps
the
was
most
the apex of.
insane. I mean, yeah, that
Well,
stuff was fun, but like AMP was my church when like Wipeout came out for the PlayStation, and almost every song was just like Wipeout graphics with sexy lyrics over it, or it was Six Underground by Sneaker Pimps, and you would stay up late and do drugs and hang out with your friends and watch this stuff and laugh and watch Aphex Twin and like freak out because you had an existential crisis because why is this gigantic scary man like staring at you? And that was the magic for me.
I think the book, which I just started by the way, but
Oh, and Liquid Television.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Liquid.
that was 90, 91.
I was gonna say Liquid Television, 120 minutes. I love the Headbangers Ball. Everything there was like around 92, 93. There was a lot of stuff that I used to watch and tape. I used to have videotapes like just full of stuff that I taped off, just random stuff I taped on MTV. And they all melted into fire, by the way. I wish I still had them.
Ah,
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're saying 92 because of the real world is maybe 92. I think the real
Yeah,
world is when you say
mhm.
the
yeah.
writing's on the wall for MTV, which is probably why they're putting that date. By the way, the music I'm crapping on is Trevor Jones, who also did Labyrinth TV series. That doesn't count. Okay.
What?
Wow.
That might not be. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Dark City, Cliffhanger, Last of Mohicans, Notting Hill.
Mm.
There. That's what I need to spit out a bit. So he has some real credits. It's not just some
Oh,
schlub making the music, but I did not like his melodramatic climax music.
well,
They
I
I
got
didn't
found
really
a
notice it as good or bad. I wasn't really paying
yeah.
attention to anything that wasn't a needle drop because this was such an MTV movie.
Well, I guess I noticed it so much at that point because it was not a needle drop, you know. So, and
But then
I have
any
a little more
moment
of
where
an
there
ear.
wasn't dialogue, I was probably just talking to Mercy.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think
Speaking of music though, I was reminded of a time when all of the bands that were coming out had to have like really stupid names that sounded funny, like Bowling for Soup, for example.
mm.
Yes.
Bowling for Soup, and then it's like for a little while, all of the bands had to have some sort of like weird situational non sequitur names. Um, but yeah, good for Bowling for Soup. They got themselves in that.
I want to give Mark
Yeah.
credit for geniusing that back in the day. Mark, do you remember your band? It was CBC, and every show it would stand for something different.
Yeah. I only remember Catholic Blow Committee, but
That's the one
I know
people
there were
remember,
others.
but I do
I
remember
don't
at
think
other shows you had different names for what that stood for.
I think that band had a total of like 3 shows, and at least one of them the drummer didn't show up. And it's funny
Yet
because
Anson Mount can put together a fully professional, ready to play the Grammys band in 2 days.
Well, that's why he qualifies as a Star Trek captain. His incredible organizational skills.
Gets things done.
Yeah.
well, I everybody else who had a band liked my band, and I think it was because I was like had the guts to do things like the drummer is not here, I don't care, I will play anyway, and just basically tell jokes the whole time, which is something that happened.
I was there. He's telling the truth.
You didn't make
Yeah.
the audience clap, and that can be your percussion.
I that
You
might
should
have been one of the jokes. I don't remember, but
should have told them, sorry guys, tonight we only have B and C.
He probably made that joke.
maybe.
That was
But
the late 90s. We've all forgotten.
that
But I
that is
remember it
the
happening.
attention horror level lust that makes me be on podcasts. So, there you go.
Anyway, you know what? Film or filth? I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a film with a terrible
Well, yes,
script.
Yeah.
classic question. How is this film, which we all see, which was just fine, on the worst films of all time list?
I think
Is it?
haters, right?
Yeah, man, people hate things that girls like.
Yeah, people hate things that girls like. People hate any like musician. I bet
How
if
dare
you
she step outside her lane, sort of feeling I think
yeah,
people have.
because Glitter is further down this list, and for the record, Glitter bombed a lot harder than this movie did, but there are a lot of comparisons. Apparently, Glitter is very, very, very similar to this.
Which
And
artist?
Mariah Carey,
Okay.
By the
who
way,
is a more established artist at this point.
budget for this is 10 to 12 million. Box office was 61 million. Doesn't seem like anyone took a bath on it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that did
except for
And
maybe
succeed.
Britney
I
in her
actually
life.
I quickly Googled Britney Spears' career as I was listening, as we were watching it, because I was like, oh, is this like when she turned down? But like, no, like Mark says, like Toxic was after this.
Yeah,
And that's
this
probably the one that
When
people
was
most
she when
remember
did
to
she
this day.
shave her head and was like running around
That's not till
attacking?
like 2006, 7, I think.
Right.
yeah, that was before the conservatorship started, and it was I think
Right.
after
That's
she
what
had
started it,
kids.
basically, right?
It was a whole thing, and I don't have the whole timeline in front of me, but
Yeah,
it's pretty
if Mercy
sad.
was here, she could have helped us
Yeah.
out because she's more
Yeah.
aware of that stuff than I am. But
It's sad and a reminder that
I think
even
she's on
if
the
you're
phone to her
rich and
sister in the other
powerful,
room. So
yeah, Even if it's a reminder that even if you're rich and powerful, and sometimes especially if you're rich and powerful, the system will fail you if you uh have an episode in public. Like
Yep.
no, but our society does not allow that. I guess probably most societies don't, but
Well,
I
well,
think
the paparazzi are feet were in a feeding frenzy, and people would
Yes.
click on it. If people click on it, then it's like how many angles have you guys watched Dave Navarro getting punched by Perry Farrell this week?
I think
Um,
that for the record, I think
I don't
we've
even know who
gotten
those two people
better.
are.
Don't worry about it. They were MTV stars, but yeah, the whole thing. I think we've gotten better about it because now, I think if that exact thing happened now, then we would have a lot more like the thing where the lady botched the national anthem and then checked into rehab. Everybody was like had a good laugh and they were like, yeah, fine, cool, glad you're going to rehab. Take care of yourself.
Hmm.
I think things really have gotten better on that front, but it's not fair that Britney Spears herself specifically had to suffer so much for this.
Well, we did. There was a thing about 2000s gawking at train wrecks like that. Lindsay
Uh,
Lohan, who also has a movie on this list for similar reasons, probably, you know.
I mean, Amanda Bynes is probably a much better comparison because she had like legitimate, you know, episodes. I think Lindsay Lohan sort of just got past it and just continued working. Like she didn't end up, you know, in a conservatorship or anything, but
Hmm.
Yeah, but she
um,
certainly was on the rails a bit, and
yeah,
everyone in the 2000s was just like paying hyper attention to her, while and which would makes you get crazier, right?
yeah, yeah. Anna Nicole Smith was basically like, I don't know, she just died in front of everyone and everyone just clapped, basically.
Hillary
It's
Duff
yeah.
seemed to work out okay, by the way.
I don't think Hillary Duff had all that many
So this is how
problems.
Anna Nicole Smith ends, with
Uh,
thunderous
it's
applause.
just getting depressing, so I thought I'd just mention that Hillary Duff seemed to have turned out okay in the end.
There are a lot of people, even Miley Cyrus was a little wacky for a while, but has
Kind of
taken
made a
control of
career out of
her.
it.
Yeah, she took control of her life just continuously and has done really amazing things and continues to. I mean, her dad's a bigger train wreck than see. Now we can look at her dad and be like, that guy is messed up. And
It's a wonder Miley turned out so well.
yeah, what he had a divorce with somebody named Fire Rose. That's her whole name is just one word, Fire Rose.
That's how I
is
got an
that
achy breaky
true?
heart.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
but anyway,
would you like a
I
10
hope
star
Fire Rose
review?
gets a bunch of money.
Of
Yes,
course.
go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. This movie is the best. Crossroads rocks. I've seen this movie a lot of times because it is the best movie ever. I am Britney Spears' #1 fan. I went to go see this movie 3 times when they were showing it in the theaters. I can watch this movie forever. I love it. A lot of people say that it sucks just because Britney Spears is in it. They are just jealous because Britney Spears knows how to sing and act. They wish they could be her. All you haters out there, just leave Britney Spears alone. All of my friends, they don't even like Britney Spears, and they love the movie. Britney Spears knows how to sing and act. Don't be saying that she doesn't know how to act because she does now how to sing and act. She is the best singer ever and actress. I will always be Britney Spears' #1 fan. She is the best. I know all her songs and I have all her CDs and DVDs. I love her. I think that everyone should get this movie and see it over and over and over again.
Oh
When
man,
people ask
No,
me
yeah,
who's my
go
I
off.
want to get, I want to give
Crossroads,
that, I want to give that person a high five.
they
I
say
just
That
I
want to
was
love
give
that
him,
The
I
movie.
just want to
podcast.
Best
find
movie
that
ever.
person to give him a high five. That's beautiful.
I give it a
That's good.
100 stars over the top. 8 out of 13
So
found it helpful. It comes from 2005, by the way. That's before the crying video, right?
Hmm.
I
The
Leave
person
Brittany
clear about
alone.
believe
Britney,
so.
right? Britney
Leave
alone.
leave Britney alone. Yeah,
What
I
year
think
was
that's
that?
Person
that's
who
way.
turns
Shaving
out to
Time?
actually have been, ahead of the times.
Yeah.
What if it's the same person?
I was
Very
reading it,
possible.
wondering if it was the same person.
Pathologically online person.
Outrageous Girl '05. I don't know what that means.
2007. Oh, she is transitioned. Is now Kara Cunningham.
What? Who?
Hmm.
She is now transitioned and is now a femme as Kara
Oh, you're talking
Cunningham.
about the Leave
The
Britney
Leave
The
Alone
Brittany
one.
alone person, yeah.
the
Okay, sorry. I thought you were reading about the
yes.
reviewer I was reading. I was like,
Try.
how do you know
I'm
that
trying.
much?
I'm trying to think of a delicate way to not like dead name this person and be cool
Yeah.
about it.
The
So yes,
person who
Kara
did Leave
Cunningham.
Britney Alone. Okay.
Leave Britney alone.
That becomes your name once that's your big meme.
Yeah,
You know?
I
Kinda,
never knew
yeah.
a name for that person. I
I
just knew
certainly
that.
didn't.
Formerly known as Chris Cunningham, who is actually
Well,
the
now you've
same
done
name
it.
of the guy who directed Aphex Twins' "Come to Daddy" video.
Hmm. Okay, you're
Which
just trying to
in my headcanon maybe it is, but it
tie
isn't.
some
He's British.
roles
Yeah, it's more
together.
fun to just believe that.
Come
It's
to
2024. You don't have to
Daddy.
live in reality. You get to choose your reality.
You're right. Moral relativism. There's one thing that I should have mentioned up top that we did talk about before the episode started, which is that Anson Mount basically took this role because he was encouraged by Robert De Niro, who was shooting a movie with him, who is a huge Britney Spears fan, and they went through lines from Crossroads on breaks from City by the Sea, which they were filming together, with Mount reading his lines and De Niro reading Britney Spears' lines.
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Hey, there's
So
one more fun here from 2006 if you want it.
go for it.
People always hate pop stars. People always hate pop stars. They wrote it twice. I don't. I don't. I think people should stop giving out ones to these movies and start learning a lesson here. This movie and several other movies are 10 material. What other movies do you, the jealous user, might ask? Oh, movies. Now that I'm reading, I think they're full of crap. But I did want to read the line because they start listing from Justin to Kelly and the Mixed Glitter, Jiggly, Daniel Der Zauberer, Can't Stop the Music, and more. I don't know. Are they full of it? Okay, I read
I
it
don't
for
know.
this line though.
I don't know.
As it goes on, I don't know. This is good stuff. Nothing in this movie will put you to a painful sleep like when you get an IV before an operation. The needle part is the painful part, by the way. Come on, guys, watch this movie now.
That's a high bar. That's a high bar to set for any art. It's not like an operation.
Well, it didn't say an operation. Didn't it just say a painful sleep?
It's
Oh,
not
before
like
an
a painful
operation, I did
sleep.
this. Okay,
It's
just
not
checking.
like dying.
Yeah,
It's not, it's not like an invasive surgical procedure,
Mark likes movies that
at
are like dying.
least.
Sometimes. I was just
I don't
looking up
know.
Desperately Seeking Susan as a comparison, and that is rated at 6.1, and it's a
That
very
was
different movie.
reasonably well received though. Shanghai Surprise is
Yeah.
when Madonna pooped the bed, right?
Or what is it? What is
Well,
it? Not Spirited Away. It's a title that's like Spirited Away. What is it called?
For
Sinking
Madonna?
Away. Yeah,
It's
her
Guy Ritchie's Swept
Guy
Away.
Ritchie. Okay,
Yeah,
Swept
Swept
Away.
Away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
they
very
were married at that point, I think.
that might be on our list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What is the rating on that?
To do one moment.
Maybe I beat you to it.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
beating you
know.
to
Did
it.
you?
Same
Did
year,
you?
2002. Yeah, it is a 3.6. Is it on our
Mm,
list? It's right in
should
that
be.
gray area where we might have missed it. But yeah, that's too
Maybe
bad.
you left it off because you didn't know what it was.
what year is Die Another Day? Is that also this year?
Yes, it's also this year.
2002?
Big year
Yeah.
for
Wow.
Madonna. Not a great year, but a
Mm-hmm.
big year.
What a year for.
So, also, by the way, a good example of somebody trying to do this with a popular star, a musical star, would be, I think the same year was 8 Mile,
Oh
um,
yeah.
which is actually a pretty good movie. And they had like it was a vehicle for a for Eminem, obviously. And starting from that, like let's make a good movie that's also something that empowers and emboldens Eminem's image and what he's all about and sort of his narrative. And that was a fantastic job if that was your goal to set out. Um, I don't know, like yeah, it's not the worst movie of all time. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. Did anybody notice, speaking of which, that it has the same exact opening as Fateful Findings, the Neil Breen movie? You're like digging and there's a
No,
box. Like,
I
oh,
haven't
Eminem.
seen that. I've only seen like bits of
no,
Neil Breen
okay.
movies. I don't think I've ever like actually made it through an entire one, even though I should. But
How is that not on this list? That's a terrible movie.
um,
But anyway,
I've
like no, I think that when you start out trying to say we're gonna make this movie for this gonna vehicle for like the biggest pop star right now, and we're gonna have all these people involved, I just think you should be able to pull off something that's maybe a little bit better than this movie is.
Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
going to sit here and tell you this film was a masterpiece. I think maybe my issue with it is that it didn't lean hard enough either into being about her songs or not being about music. It tried to be in like a weird middle ground, then maybe that's That's its failing as a film, I think. And also just the script needed a one or two more looks
Mhm.
at. Like
Yeah, I mean the
And
the
biggest
line that
problem is
me and
there's a
Mercy
road
keep
trip where nothing
quoting from
happens.
when they
I
go
love
back when they
I
go
love
back
a
to get
road.
the buried treasure, whatever it is. She's like, "Give me my flashlight back. Give me my flashlight
Yeah.
back." Me and Mercy have been quoting that since we saw the film.
but also this is, even though Spice World, to not to constantly bring up Spice World, but it did give us some version, even though it was fake, of them making
Yeah,
the
it leaned
making the
into being
sausage.
a film about the Spice Girls, right?
It shows them like working out songs, working out routines, which is compelling. Like, even, I don't know, Hustle and Flow is probably a terrible example because that's kind of a stupid movie where it's like the pimp is like the sad pimp who is beaten up by
Also
his
featuring Taryn
sex
Manning, by the way.
workers. Okay. That's like, but watching that is compelling because it does such a good job of showing you like the excitement of how exciting it is to put together an ensemble and crank music out, which this just doesn't really, except for a while Britney Spears is sitting on a bed
Oh
like
yeah,
between,
they're in the dressing room. And by the way, okay, so they are going on a road trip, and they are have no time to prepare. And when they are preparing to get up and do that song in New Orleans, they have like a pretty extensive wardrobe at their disposal. So I think, yeah, I mean, like more time spent showing how that process works would have been good there.
And some Mount
Well, she
stole it
did
for
pack an
them.
awful lot of clothes. It did establish that.
But as far as Neil Breen will, the criteria for this podcast is generally to use movies with a certain number of ratings, and it looks like his generally have something like 6,000. I think the threshold is something
Right,
like 10,000 ratings,
right,
where
right,
Crossroads has like 45,000 ratings, and
right.
Smolensk, which nobody's ever heard of, has 40,000 just because it was like review bombed into oblivion by rational people. Um,
Kind of an
so
anti Last Jedi.
yeah, that's the lowest rated. It was like 70 something on the list when Matt made the list, and now it is number one worst rated film because it got review bombed so hard during protests.
Well,
Um,
if anybody feels like watching the like a really difficult movie I'm trying to sell it here, the really difficult
yeah.
movie to sit through.
That sounds
All
great.
right. Yeah, like
Have
yeah, count me in. But yeah, Neil Breen, man, wow.
have
Really,
you
really, 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 really amazing. Amazingly how bad that shit is.
have you Will, have you gotten to see The Astrologer, which is, you know what that is?
No, no, what's that?
It's it was a movie that this guy who was basically a con artist made in the 80s about himself being, he stars in it and directed it, and it's like about him being an astrologer who predicts things and becomes really powerful. And it's just like the reason that it was buried for so many years is because he used a bunch of Moody Blues songs without permission. And it's like,
Aha.
but it looks great because he, basically had a lot of budget for camera and stuff like that for some reason. Matt and I did this on our other podcast, which is called, or our Matt's other podcast called Oral Hygiene. You could find an episode about that, but that's a rare, like, incredible quote unquote bad movie. And also Surfer Teen Confronts Fear, which I'm almost certain you haven't seen because the guy
Okay.
is touring with it now. It's
Huh.
like this crazy Christian guy, and most of the movie is just him yelling at his son about inspirational stuff between like
You know,
surfing footage.
I think this is something that we did sort of touch on the first time I was with you guys, which was Mac and Me, is the difference between what's a bad movie and what's a bad movie that's fun. And
Hmm.
I didn't have fun watching Crossroads. I just didn't have
Yeah.
the fun that I had. But Back in Me, I loved it. My friends were with me. We drank beer. We laughed our heads off. It was a wonderful thing. It was a good time. So there's different levels of bad, I think.
I see Mac and
There's
Me I watched alone on my phone in a McDonald's. Whereas
That
this
works
I
too.
mean, that's the right way to do it, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
whereas this I watched with Mercy and it's like, oh, it's okay. And it's a tight 90 minutes that was made in the last not quite the last 20 years. So it's just vaguely watchable in a way that a lot of stuff we cover is not.
That's
Even
true.
stuff on the good
Yeah.
list,
But yeah,
right?
I'm probably gonna watch Spice World again. I probably not gonna watch Crossroads
I
again.
don't think I'm
So,
going to watch either of them again.
are you
Especially when
gonna watch
Spice World
Spice World
disappointed me by
again?
not being a sci-fi.
Yeah, okay, you
I
have that chip on your shoulder.
I like Spice World better, but I think I probably would rather watch Mac and Me again because it's very fun and very
Well, I'm
hilarious.
comparing with Crossroads here, but yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, as far as the bad movie hierarchy is, like, I'd rather watch something like Superman 4 or Jaws 3 because they're
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see
silly
some
and
some
fun.
effects and some nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Superman 4 is amazing.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch
or
all of the Terminators and Transformers films 10 times before I watch any of these films again,
yeah.
including
Genesis,
ones on the good list.
you're gonna watch Genesis again?
I'm probably gonna watch Genesis again before I watch this again.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
Get ready for the
Because I'm gonna
reevaluation.
I would
They're
watch.
reevaluating Salvation now, and it pisses me off because I still think that movie sucked. But
I
now
always
everybody's
I
like,
always thought
actually,
Salvation was pretty cool, apart from the fact that Christian Bale ruined it by
yeah.
insisting that John Connor be a constant present in the film.
And
I
also
would.
it's like the only performance he ever did that's bad, which is
Yeah.
confusing.
Mark, I
There are.
remember you and I went to see Salvation. When we came out, I was trying to make a coherent argument that the movie was good, but then you won the argument, and I've never liked it again since.
I've
The
never
entire
watched it
argument,
again.
as I understand it, was Michael Ironsider's in it, though.
In a submarine.
Yeah.
That was the main part of my argument, that if Michael Ironside is in a submarine, then it must be good.
You could
Well, we're
literally
currently
just put that.
rehashing
Yes.
five-year-old Terminator conversation, so I think we're
Yes.
done.
Yep. Will, you got anything to plug?
Nothing now. No, not really. But it's been a pleasure being here. Thanks, guys.
Always. Thanks for coming in.
You can plug my
Yeah, yeah,
butthole if you want.
yeah.
Well, just like Anson Mount did to Britney Spears. Anyway, allegedly. Anyway,
Legend by us, apparently.
If you'd like to come to the
well,
crossroads of our podcast, you can go to Patreon at Podcastio, and depending on which road you cross, you may
what?
end up. What did I say?
You said
Pistachio?
Podcastio. Are you okay?
I kind of felt like
Podcastios.
once I said it, I was like, did I say that right? I'm not sure. You just called me out on it. Okay. Here, you said I'm going to screw it up if I
Well,
say
you
it now.
can. Yeah, like the other day,
Podcastius. There we go.
Matt kept saying Jill Gerard when I brought up Gil Gerard. I'm like, dude,
Well,
dude.
you weren't there every week back when our Twitter was the initials of the podcast, and watching Matt try and spell it in his head every week.
MLSFS pod.
Cross-eyed.
That.
Yeah.
Well,
See, I keep my pronunciation. Never mind.
good job. Okay. Anyway, the point was you could hear us talk
The
about
point is,
Me
squirrel
fail
hiking.
English. That's impossible.
you go to a website of patreon.com/podcastio. Throw us money, please, so we can learn to spell and learn to speak English. Also listen to other podcasts that are in English, such as Luke
If you're
Loves
listening to this
Pokemon.
and you work for Apple, Nike, or any other big business, and you've pulled out 85% of your funding for Twitter, why not give some of it to us?
Yes, we
We'll
will,
plug
if
we'll
you
plug
give us
any
enough.
evil corporation if you give us $1 million.
If you give us enough, yeah, we could, better help.
I will
Like, give
assure
us
people that Boeing is safe if you pay me enough.
This apple crunches
Yeah.
like a strawberry.
We'll do commercials for Britney Spears' father. We don't care.
I will literally sell anything if you pay me. I don't give a shit.
If Britney Spears' father's interested, I could use a conservative ship as well.
Like genuinely,
Actually, yeah.
listeners, for a tenner, we will plug any shit you've got.
Oh, should we open that door? Just send us Venmo for $10 and we'll plug anything you want.
You
I've
can
listened to other
personally
podcasts that
Venmo
do
one of
that.
us, and we'll plug it like it's a real opinion without telling the others.
I have listened to a podcast that did that, and it seemed like they didn't get a whole lot, but they got a few, and sometimes it was like erotic My Little Pony fan fiction and stuff like
I'll
that.
do it.
Yep.
This
get my dick out on
this,
camera and jerk to it.
this idea would have been better with the Mac and Me episode.
Yeah.
This is so out of control.
Matt should have pressed stop like 15 minutes ago.
I'm literally just waiting for someone to do the last word.
Penis.
Okay.
Okay, good. Best plug ever.
Oh my god.
Okay. I guess I will go
Seriously,
ahead.
BetterHelp is totally unethical, and every podcast plugs them, and it makes me so sad.
Oh, for reals?
Yeah, like they just sell they known to sell everyone's data. It's like if you go and
Ah.
they
Yeah, that's not what you want
Patreon
from your
anti-plug.
therapist.